what's up to my new homie right here, Ahmed Fareed. Did I say your last name the right way?
Well, Ahmed Fareed.
Ahmed Fareed. Thank you. That's how new we are right now.
See, I just went top button.
Yeah.
And it looks terrible.
Right.
It looks awful.
Well, how dare you? You look really handsome.
Oh.
Yo, what's up? It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned, and that's right. That was Ahmed Fareed and Chris Sims, like, I don't even know, 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
We've aged that much.
I mean, I don't know. After looking at that right there, I think we look better now than we did then. I'm not sure. We might look older, but I'm not sure what we were doing there. Okay?
I was maybe 10 pounds heavier.
You definitely had a little more meat
now.
on your bones. I definitely had a not-so-great haircut that I did not like. I could tell you that much.
And your son would argue that has persisted throughout the entirety of the podcast.
Without a doubt. My son would tell you everything's wrong with my haircut, my head in general, my forehead's too big like Peyton Manning. Those are the things I hear from my son all the time. But, hey, it's good to have you back, man.
Good to be back.
It's good to be back. It's sad.
Yes.
This is Ahmed Fareed's last show.
This will be the last
Which was one of my biggest nerve-wracking things with you when we first got together was your name. Your name.
Sure.
Right? Because everyone
You're not the only one.
Everyone was just Ahmed or Ahmed.
Yes.
Ahmed. That's what I feel like. Or Ahmad, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you weren't sure, right? And I think I called you the wrong name a handful of times on the first few pods where I was like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. I can't believe it. I know I had to like meet your wife not long after that, and I was like, oh, she's gonna be real happy to meet me, the guy who can't get her husband's name right here. So but we got it right.
Just call him a nickname or something. Just come up with your own nickname. No, it is sad, and I said this to you before the podcast, and this is of no consolation to the homies out here. The podcast is changing, of course, and when I got here for the first time, you were already super popular podcast over at Bleacher Report. Everyone was like, get this Ahmed Fareed guy out of here because you and Lefko were the team from that point. And so you do this to every one of your hosts all the time.
Now they're like, get Stu Gotts out of here. We want Ahmed Fareed
It's a
back.
very difficult chair to be in, but no, I said this to you, and we're working together with college football on Saturdays, and so we will still be together. But if I was leaving the building, and if this was really our last show, and we were going to see each other, it would be very sad because
you're a friend, man.
And this is something that I have done more than anything I think now in my career. For 6 or almost 7 years now, and so I'm excited to see what's next for you and for me doing some of the NBA stuff more and the college football. But we'll talk about all that stuff as the show goes on because we do have
stuff planned
an
here.
AAA, Ask Ahmed Anything.
I like it.
I'm going through my most memorable moments. I'm going through things I've learned from you. So we'll do all that at the end of the pod.
Definitely.
Second and third
You wore your
segments.
Lions shirt, your
I
rugby
did.
Lions shirt.
This is what Pete got me. It's my rugby shirt because you know me. I've been a big proponent of some of the rugby stuff going into the NFL. So.
Come on, more tush push. That's what he likes right there.
Yeah, laterals.
And no
and all
red
that.
pants, but you did wear some red shoes.
I got the red shoes. Yeah, I got the red shoes, so I had to do that.
We'll take that as a consolation prize.
But the homies have some questions for me and you as well. We'll get to those later on, but we start with football here, with football talk, because that's what this podcast is. Who cares who the other host is? It's about Chris and his football takes, and that's what we're going to do at the top of the show. And so let's start with this segment, but for how long?
Yeah,
because I think there's a lot of storylines that are emerging right now, and you're like, okay, this is happening, and this has been declared, but for how long is that going to be the case? And so we'll just start with the quarterback situation. Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts, we learned that he is going to be the starter. Shane Steichen saying that it will be for the season, and so they're going into it hoping that he keeps that job all season long, but that's why we come to you. Daniel Jones is the Colts starting quarterback, but for how long? What do you think when you think of Anthony Richardson sitting on the bench? Is that going to be a full year thing?
Well, no. I mean, let me just say this. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. All right? I mean, I'm going to answer this a little bit more with some context here a little first off. All right? I mean, no one knows. We know that. I like his chances. Right? I like his chances because I think Daniel Jones, as you've heard me say a million times on here with you over the years, is better than people realize. He was stuck in a horrible situation with the Giants, like we always joke around with, right? If you're around shit all the time, you're going to start to smell like it. It's going to start to get on you, and you're not going to look so good yourself, right? That's the problem. I do think the league thinks a lot more highly of Daniel Jones than the public does, right? That's for sure. And I think you could kind of tell that with how Kevin O'Connell talked about him a little bit in Minnesota last year. There was more interest for him from other teams at the start of the offseason this year than people would realize, because I think people know there's something here. As we've talked about before too, he's a huge Adonis-looking human being. He's 6'5", 245, and he's pretty chiseled. And he runs pretty fast. We make fun of him because he tripped at the 5-yard line, but we forget to say that he ran for 80 yards before that, right? Which not a lot of quarterbacks have that on their resume. I had an 80-yard run. Like, no, negative Ghost Rider. So there's something there. He's smart as hell. He works hard as hell. He's detailed that way, right? And that is the reason he's the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, like Shane Steichen can say all he wants, like, oh, he's the starter for the rest of the year. He's the starter the rest of the year until he's not, right?
I get what he's saying.
I know.
It's just like, don't think that I'm just making him the starter week 1, week 2, and we'll evaluate it.
Right.
We'll evaluate it week 3 and 4.
I think what he's trying to say is we didn't name him the starter to be the first guy to get replaced, right? Or have the right to be benched. They believe in what they're seeing here. And I'm not surprised they named him the starter. I think I told you, right, at the start of training camp, I think even back in OTAs, I said Daniel Jones is going to win the starting quarterback position. He first off has more experience, right? He knows how to run the offense. He's going to be better at the line of scrimmage and doing stuff like that. And he's a more consistent thrower of the football. As much as you love Anthony Richardson and some of those highlight throws, like we've said so many times too, yeah, it's wow. And then it's like, holy crap, he missed that. Holy crap, he missed that. Holy crap, he missed that. Well, they went 3 and out. Oh my gosh, what an amazing throw. And then it's 4 more incompletions that should be slam dunk completions in the NFL. So Daniel Jones, with his experience, knowing how to practice all of that, and the way he's played in the 2 preseason games, no, I'm not shocked by this at all.
Yeah.
The Colts, they don't have a choice here. This is a big year for them, right? They can't go into the year going, well, you know, we think Anthony Richardson will come around and do all the things we want him to do, and he's been better, so we think it's going to be better. They don't have the luxury of that. Their ass is going to be fired if they start out 1-3 or 1-4. They're not going to be able to battle back from that, right? So that's where they're going with the guy and using the word Shane Steichen used, consistency.
Yep.
The guy day in and day out through practice has done the right things, gets the right checks, says the right things in the huddle and all that. And that's where Daniel Jones won the job. And he can make a GM and a coach who are on the hot seat feel comfortable with all those type of things and the work ethic behind the scenes to go along with it, right?
Consistency from the line of scrimmage, the operations, the protections,
Exactly.
throwing the football. I'm sure we have
Yeah.
seen the inaccuracy
Right.
problems with Anthony Richardson. So what do you think, though? Because I've brought this up to you in the past.
Yeah.
It would be a waste to have an athlete like Anthony Richardson just do nothing.
Yeah.
And I get that you don't want to, it's like, oh, he goes in, makes a couple highlight plays, and now there's talk. Maybe he should be playing a little bit more, and that causes a little controversy. But we're all adults here, right? We obviously know that Anthony Richardson can do some things on the football field, and maybe throwing them is not one of them or his strong suit,
Right.
but there are still things that he can do as a
Definitely.
football player. Do you think they utilize him in ways?
You don't force it. I think that's the first thing. Daniel Jones is the quarterback. You play with Daniel Jones. You let him go. Is there a point in the season where you go, hey, maybe we'll bring Anthony Richardson in for some quarterback design runs?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring him in with Daniel Jones and put him at tailback, and maybe he runs a route, or maybe we toss it to him and then he throws a pass down the football field, right? Something like that. Right? I could see that stuff being a part of maybe the game planning as we go on, but I don't think it's something they're going to force week 1 because of some of the things you said and all that. And they got their team and they want to frame it right now behind Daniel Jones and what he's done and what they've seen. Right? Anthony Richardson has been better. You heard me say it. The throwing is more consistent, definitely. He looks better. He looks more in shape. But within all of that, too, it's, hey, I tapped out, right? I tapped out. We heard behind the scenes that he wasn't doing all the things that, is needed to be done by a starting quarterback. That came out last year, right? He talked this year about losing a little weight. I stopped eating so much junk food and Skittles and all that. He's still very young. He's 23. He's younger than a lot of the quarterbacks that were drafted last year in that draft, right? So he's got football in front of him here. He's just got to keep fighting the good fight. That's what it is. And yeah, he's not there yet. And we saw that in week 1. See, like week preseason 1. They don't have the time to go, oh, he missed the guy on the blitz and he should have adjusted the protection or known that this guy was going to be free so he doesn't get crushed and get a strip sack fumble or get hurt like that, right? Those are things, again, that tell me that he's not quite where Daniel Jones is in that department.
Yeah.
So that's where you got to go. Jones is a machine. He's a machine, and the other aspect of this is Jones can take advantage, I think, more of what Shane Steichen has to offer than Anthony Richardson at this point. You've heard me, I'm a fan of Shane Steichen of that offense, right? I mean, even when they're the 13th ranked offense last year with Joe Flacco playing pretty average and Anthony Richardson throwing for less than 50% and more interceptions and touchdowns.
They were 8 and 9. I mean, they were on the cusp of a playoff spot.
So now what do you think they get? The potential, and I think this is why Steichen goes with Daniel Jones, because he goes, wait, I got no limitations. I can feel good that he can make all the throws on a consistent basis. And I feel good that he's not going to miss a protection or miss something. And I can give him more at the line of scrimmage to check and do this and package plays together in a way where now you can really, this is why you hired me, Chris Ballard. I have all these great ideas. That's why we went to the Super Bowl in Philadelphia. That's why we were, damn good and with the Chargers in Justin Herbert's rookie year and stuff like that. So I think that's the other aspect. And they're sneaky talented on offense. The O-line's pretty good. We know the running back's real. Tyler Warren's there. And then you go through Alec Pierce, right? Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs. Okay, they're not maybe superstars, but they're all really good. They can all be kind of interchangeable, right? There's no weakness to their game. And I think when you think about it from that aspect, you go, yeah, this offense does have a little more potential than I think people are giving it credit for.
Yeah.
And especially when Steichen has his full Rolodex of plays he can dial up with a guy like Daniel Jones.
You do wonder if Anthony Richardson is going to be a good soldier after this. He said all the right things afterwards.
Right.
It's a team's decision. You got to work to get back there. But his agent did not hold back, saying that trust is a big factor. And at best, that is questionable right now. We have a lot to discuss. So I do wonder what his people are telling him now.
Or what, did he say something to them when he got out of practice, and does he call them and say that, right?
Yeah.
I don't love that the agent came out and said that.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson said and handled the situation.
He did.
Exactly the way you're supposed to.
We got to live with it.
Okay?
No hard feelings. Nothing
Right.
personal.
Right. So just leave it at that, right? This is what we're questioning. We don't want to see this. The agent, I think, is working against him here in this one. And again, like we already explained, there's been a few issues with Anthony Richardson. I know he's a good guy and he's got talent and he loves football. I get that. But as we've talked about, there's been some issues about, maturity or handling things the right way and doing all the little things you got to do as at the quarterback, right? So they've trusted him through all of that. They want to make this work. You think they really want to go like, hey, we're not going with our 4th pick of the draft in the year 3 at quarterback. Like, you think that looks good on them? No, it doesn't look good on them. I echo what Florio said this morning. No, of course it doesn't look good, but good on them. I'm not doubling down just to go, we're going to make sure this pick looks right. We're going to probably get fired and ruin the whole team, but we're going to make sure the pick looks right, right? And they're not going to do that. They don't think it's ready right now. So go back to work. Daniel Jones has been hurt a bunch in his career. You might get in there. You don't know. Maybe the team does sputter. You get your chance, right? So just be ready, be detailed that way. But yeah, I don't like that the agent says that. Then he says something like, Anthony Richardson did all the things that the Colts told him to do this offseason. Okay. Okay. That doesn't mean they just anoint you the starter, right? I had a lot of seasons where I did the offseason, everything right. Why wasn't I the starter, coach?
He had
because the other guys better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
This is not like, it's not Jimmy at band camp. Like, well, you get a red ribbon today because you did everything we said.
Yeah.
This is not what it is. Daniel Jones also did everything they asked this offseason, and he's pretty good too. So we'll see. And I think the other aspect that I do take into the account here, one, he's practiced better, he's played better. All right, all of that. He's in the trust tree better, as we always joke about. Their first 3 games, Broncos and Dolphins, Broncos, Titans.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 3 top 5 or 6 defenses in football last year.
Will not be easy.
Right. So that's another reason I think Daniel Jones makes you feel a little more comfortable, right? Because, again, if you think that blitz that hit Anthony Richardson against Baltimore Ravens was complicated, which it wasn't, right? Wait till you see week 1 Miami and the Denver Broncos and all the crazy crap they do, right? So that's where another thing I think Daniel Jones has a leg up in this whole thing. And, Anthony Richardson, they're not giving up on you. Yeah. They just got to do what's best for them right now and best for the team. And you just got to keep working behind the scenes and acting like you're going to get your shot here one of these days real soon.
To your point about Jones staying healthy, he has played a full season in just one of his 6 career years. That was 2022 when the Giants did make the playoffs when he stayed healthy that right. 1 year. And so not that we would ever, and at the top of it, I was like, but for how long? Not that we would ever ask you to have a crystal ball and know exactly when Anthony Richardson's coming back. But if you did have a crystal ball, how long do you think Daniel Jones go? Do you think there's a good enough chance he could go the full stretch?
I do. I think there's enough support system there and the team and the systems there enough to where he can thrive here. Again, I would challenge anybody to go, you put the bottom 15, 17 quarterbacks in football on the Giants the last 4 years, it ain't going to look good. I don't care who you are. I don't care, right? And again, how many damn times do we have to see this? Oh, Matthew Stafford's no good. Year 1 wins a Super Bowl with the Rams. Oh, Baker Mayfield, what a bust that was. What, he was with crap in Cleveland, crap in Carolina? Oh, he's around something hell good now? He's one of the best quarterbacks in football.
Yeah.
You know, that you go there. Sam Darnold, the same conversation. Geno Smith, same conversation. So, again, I mean, how many times do we got to see this before we go, hey, let's not make a meme of this and start making fun of it right away here. Yeah. I think Daniel Jones has got a chance. And like I said, I think he's a lot more respected around the NFL than people realize. I think that people realize the situation he's been in. If there was a spot, they have a bye week after week 10. If they got to that point and they were like, hey, we gave him a shot here. We tried to see if it was going to go the right direction. I said he was the starter for the year, but we're 5-5 and we're kind of sputtering on offense.
Yeah.
Or 4-6. Yeah, I could see bye week, get ready for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they unveil Anthony Richardson, something like that. If you had to ask me for a crystal ball, that would be my guess right there.
Joe Flacco, also well-respected in the league. As I transition on to our next starting quarterback who is named, he is the starting quarterback, the 40-year-old for the Cleveland Browns. What'd Kevin Stefanski say? He praised his leadership, preparedness in camp and practices, saying he has earned the job. Now, he was going against a couple rookies who are just learning the ropes.
And an injured Kenny Pickett.
Who's not playing right now. And so I'm not going to say it was by default.
Right.
I mean, you can say that. But Joe Flacco is, at least right now, the starting quarterback for the Browns.
I know. I wonder what the original plans were, right? That's the one thing I can't wait to hear or know when things settle down and I'll find out. Because I always kind of felt like, man, Kenny Pickett, I think it might be the starter day one when we started training camp and all of that. Yeah. Right? Hey, he's the guy that's kind of in the prime of his career, does have some untapped potential. Let's see what he's got here, right? I was kind of expecting that. But I think between the injuries of everybody and Joe Flacco being able to practice and, of course, his experience, I don't want to say one by default either, but there was no other options, I don't think, either.
Yeah.
You weren't going to throw out like Dylan Gabriel, who just played one preseason game and missed a week of practice and do that. Shedeur Sanders, the same thing. One good game, then he missed a week of practice because of the oblique, and I'd be so shocked if he can play this week because obliques are annoying as a thrower. I mean, you know that. Twisting and rotating, you can't do that without your obliques.
Me of all people.
Right, you of all people should know that, right? I mean, the high-quality athlete you are. So, I think after the last 2 weeks of stuff going on, I saw this coming. I think we all did. We all felt like Joe Flacco was going to be the starter here.
Yeah.
Now, this is one where I think you can legitimately go, yeah, but for how long?
Yep.
Right? Because this is a team that I don't look at to go like the Indianapolis Colts where I go, well, the Colts they got potential. They're on one of those short list teams where you go, we're not making them to go to the playoffs, but they're one of those few teams you go, they got enough parts there to be a playoff team, right?
Yeah. You don't feel like that.
I don't feel like that with Cleveland. I don't.
Strong defense.
Strong
Myles
defense.
Garrett.
Some stuff there. Some pain in the butts that way. But, yeah, everything that they're doing and what shows me is they're kind of retooling, rebuilding on the run here. Mm-hmm. That's what it seems like to me. Right? So Flacco, a little bit like we just talked about with Daniel Jones, right off the bat, I mean, hey, they play some defenses. The Bengals not very good, but the Ravens, Packers, and Lions after that, and the Vikings, which are crazy and do a bunch of stuff. Yeah. That's where you go with the older guy and Flacco because you're going to feel comfortable with him, again, orchestrating the offense against some really crazy stuff on the defensive side of the ball. But this is one where I sit here and go, yeah, I have a hard time believing that he's the starter for the whole year. at some point everybody's going to want to see one of these young guys. The team's going to want to see it to see if one of them's the future, or if they have to dive back into the draft and try to draft somebody that way. I don't know. So that's where I just don't expect Joe Flacco to make it the whole year now.
So do they keep all these guys?
I think they are. I think they
find a way to keep them all four.
Unless they found like a great trade package, maybe for a Kenny Pickett. If they got comfortable enough with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur to go, hey, they can be 2 and 3. I don't care what the order is.
Yeah.
If they can play good enough to where it's not going to be a disaster. They're not going to be overwhelmed, right? I could see them having those conversations if they felt comfortable with those two, right? And then going, hey, there might be a team or two that need a backup that might trade us a 5th-round pick or something like that for Kenny Pickett. Do we want to take it? That's what I could see happening. And I mean, I see that could be a potential, but that depends on how comfortable they feel behind the scenes about Gabriel and Shedeur. I'm expecting all 4. I think I expect all 4.
You can do that, though? I mean, roster spots are so valuable.
I know, yeah.
Some teams are like, do we even keep 3?
Well, we're going to talk about a team in a minute right after, or the Giants are another team that might end up keeping 4. I don't know where this goes. I don't know if some of these teams, maybe they're posturing as far as just like, we're going to keep 4 so we get better trade offer, whatever it is there. But yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, I think they're not getting rid of the 2 rookies. That's not happening.
I think potentially it could.
And that's where I get to the Pickett situation.
Kenny Pickett is, he's injured, but for Joe Flacco, you can see a scenario where, how long is he the starting quarterback? And if he's no longer the starting quarterback, does he have a role on the team?
Yeah, does somebody like go, hey, or does he go, hey, just release me? This team needs me as a backup or whatever else.
If it's a developmental year anyway, and you're just like, we want to get a look at the other 2 quarterbacks.
I think anything could be. Yeah, somebody gets hurt or whatever else as a starter, and they want Joe Flacco. Maybe when they're getting to the point where they're going, hey, let's see what Shedeur's got or Dylan Gabriel's got. Maybe they trade him. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe, like I said, maybe Kenny Pickett becomes that guy here in the next week or so to see how this all shakes out. There are some teams that I think are being very dicey with their backup quarterback situations. The Dallas Cowboys being one, the shirt you're wearing being another. Like, I definitely would not go, oh, yeah, I'm the Detroit Lions. We're in the Super Bowl window. I feel good with Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker if Jared Goff goes down for 4 or 5 games. Yeah. No freaking way, right? So those are the type of teams we're talking about there. I go, you can't gamble. You need to get a real backup there. And maybe they would be a team that would call Cleveland for Kenny Pickett. But, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, Ahmed. But I think all 4 are going to be there.
They say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. What about if you have 4 quarterbacks? Need a whole new saying for that. We'll get to Jameis Winston and the Giants here in just a second, but let's do Matthew Stafford, because you talked about him a little bit with Stu Gatz on Monday. Questions whether, what's going on. We haven't heard a whole lot. Then reports that he is back at practice on Monday, and so maybe some steps in the right direction for Matthew Stafford. So he is back at practice, but the $1 million question is for how long and can he play?
I think it's turned the corner. I know some people out there. I've had some conversations with people out there to know that I know enough that's going on there. Yep. I think there was concern last week. I mean, again, they didn't practice him or have the throwing session 2 Saturdays ago thinking it was going to go in bad after they told everybody, hey, we're going to have a throwing session, and then we expect him on the practice field. Then they had to eat their words, and I'm like, I don't know, he had a setback, right? Yeah. So I think there was concern. But something happened. I don't know if he saw another specialist or whatever that helped him turn the corner here to where what we've seen after the last 2 days, I think they feel like they're in a good spot with him. And with that guy right there, I think he's back. He'll be back. No pun intended, right? Yeah. His back is back, and he'll be back. Yeah. And he'll be there to stay. They're smart out there. They never push anything too far. In fact, there's sometimes they're one of the teams where I go, I wish they'd play some of their starters in the preseason and do that. But they realize the big picture, and they play that, in a big way. And I don't think that if they feel like, hey, he's feeling a little sore there, they'll back off. Right? They understand that they're in the Super Bowl window. He's played a lot of football, but it is great that he's back out there again, right? You play the Houston Texans and that defense week 1. You don't want to be stepping on the field a few days before that game, getting your first practice in right then. Yeah. As tough as he is, the way they handle things, I think he's back for good.
So the worry would be that, yes, he's been tough. He has done this in the past. There have been seasons where, even with the Detroit Lions, where you're like, hey, he ain't going to be able to play that much, and then he does.
Right.
But the back's
it's
dicey. It's like, even though you want to, even though it looks like all signs are pointing the right direction, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
tough
well,
to
the back
predict,
can be
right?
one of
you
those
of
things-
all people knows that.
Exactly right. That obliques, all of that. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, quarterbacks have back problems. You see that all the time.
Yeah.
I said that to Stu Gotts a little bit last week. I mean, Troy Aikman, Tony Romo, they had to retire because of back problems. My dad's got back problems. I've had back problems. When you just twist and torque and go crazy your whole life, and then, oh, yeah, when you do that, sometimes you're going to get hit by a freight train as you're doing it. It's going to cause some deficiencies in your body, right? That's the problem there. But hopefully they got that right. He's a pretty smart guy, too. And hopefully they found the right people to kind of keep that in check. But it's always scary because you could feel totally good with a back, totally good. And you get hit in the wrong position or fall on it some certain way. And all of a sudden you go, I haven't felt anything in 8 weeks. And oh, no, now I can't tie my shoes again, right?
Yep.
And that's what you worry about, happening, especially with a guy at Stafford's age.
Impossible to predict, but if you were to do that,
Yeah.
percent chance that he plays all but just a couple games this year.
I'm
chance.
Yeah, right.
Like, what do you think?
Like,
90%?
I feel like it's expected that he's going to miss at least 2 games or
Seems
something,
like it.
right?
Even if he was fully healthy.
Right. He's
going
just
into
going
the
to be,
year.
they're going to be like, his ribs are broken this week. He's going to sit this week out and then play the rest of the year with broken ribs,
Yeah.
right? So, no, I like his chances. And
From what
I
you've
also
heard and from what you know of him.
Yeah, I like
80% chance
Yeah,
he
90%
plays 90?
chance.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
he
right,
plays
all
like at least 14, 15 games somewhere
Yeah.
in there. I see that. I think one, he's having fun. He realizes how good they are. He realizes he's on the last stage of his career here. He realizes they're in the Super Bowl window, right? So I think he's, going to do everything in his power here to make this work the right way. The Rams got 2 first-round picks. They're set up to trade up and get a quarterback in next year's draft. I think everybody in the NFL thinks that's exactly what they're going to do, right? So Stafford, by all due accounts, I think is, in the second to last year of his career, maybe with the Rams. We'll see. But he knows he has a chance here to really improve his legacy and just slam the door on everybody and go, no, Hall of Fame. Right? He goes back to the Super Bowl and does anything close to what he did that first time around. Definite Hall of Fame.
Stafford has been traded, of course, in his career, never been cut. The question is, Jameis Winston, a Giant now, but for how long? You got Jackson Dart, you got Russell Wilson there as the starter. Seems like Jackson Dart is just waiting in the wings.
Yes.
Who knows what happens a few
Been
weeks
the
down
backup
the road.
in the games, right?
Jameis Winston has been a star in some other social media videos. Seems like a good guy. Everyone loves him that hangs around him. But as a QB 3 or 2,
right.
What's your feeling on what they're doing at quarterback?
This is one where I don't know if I totally buy what the Giants are saying.
So what are they saying
Well,
right now?
the assistant GM yesterday kind of just came out and was like, hey, I know all the talk out there, and I know people are speculating all that, but no, Jameis Winston, we love him. I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
Yep.
We love him. We love the energy he brings to the locker room, the quarterback room, all that.
His cultural influence to the locker
he's
room.
a giant. He's a giant is what they said.
Right now.
All right, right. Well, what I always say, are they making that bold claim right there to kind of know, like to let you know, like, hey, it ain't going to be easy to get him. We like him, right? And you're going to have to trade us something substantial to get him here. It's not a guarantee we're going to cut him, anything like that, right? Are they doing that, right? I don't know. I forever have been trying to say that I think Jameis Winston's in trouble here. I do. Well, I mean, Russell Wilson's a starter. They're going to go with that. Jackson Dart's the backup. If Russell Wilson goes down, I think they're going to go to Jackson Dart. They are. I think he's ready. He's already showed he can play in the NFL and run an offense and do that. He's had a lot of reps with Lane Kiffin and that Ole Miss offense.
So if that's the case,
I
maybe
know
he wants to leave.
Well,
That
that's
might
where
be a
I'm
better opportunity
right.
for him.
I think they like Tommy DeVito. I mean, he's a man of the people here and all that. And again, going back to the backup quarterback situation, I would think Jameis Winston is a guy that if I was a good team, a la the Lions again or something like that, I would be looking at Jameis Winston going, I'd rather have him than Kyle Allen or Hendon Hooker, right? So that's where I don't know if I really buy it, what the Giants are saying. I think it all sounds good right now. I think they legitimately do like him and all of that. But, when they get that call that says, hey, we'll trade you a 5th rounder for Jameis Winston, what does liking him do then? I don't know. And like you said, they got 3 guys that I think they like, right? I have a hard time thinking this situation's different than the Browns. I have a hard time thinking they're going to keep 4. The Browns you can justify to a degree because of the youngness of Pickett, Shador, and Dylan Gabriel, right? This is a different scenario here. And that's where I don't buy it. So wait, do they keep Jameis Winston? Is it such a big year, right? It's just such a big year that they don't even want to trust a Tommy DeVito, right? Maybe they don't. Maybe they're going, wait, Russell's our starter. If he gets hurt, Jackson goes in, but we don't even want to have Tommy DeVito behind him. We'd rather have another guy that we really trust that can do something, right? Yeah. Right? And does Tommy DeVito become the expendable guy? I don't think so. So that's where Jameis Winston is a giant, but for how long? I'm going to say 9 more days.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. I'm going to definitely take a chance on that one because that to me in football world does not make sense, that one. That one does not line up. I can hear the Cleveland 4 quarterbacks and go, yeah, I get it. That makes sense. I think we unpacked that enough.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know about that.
I know. If you get down to your third string, if you get down to your second string quarterback, usually you're not in great shape. You get down to your third string quarterback, although Jameis Winston has been a starting quarterback, obviously. But yeah, it's the Giants have other holes to fill.
Right. You're talking about a team that still doesn't have a great offensive line. I would think they're going to want to be pretty deep at that position just to have some flexibility there. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I'm not totally buying that one all the way.
All right, and we go from one New York team to another New York team, the New York Jets, and specifically on the offensive side of the ball, we're going to talk here. And Aaron Glenn was recently asked about the passing offense. So before we talk about the Jets and their passing offense, how they're looking there, let's hear Aaron Glenn talk about that.
Where do you fall in terms of your confidence in getting the ball downfield with the pass?
Very confident because that's what practice is for. I mean, you have so many people that want to talk about a small amount of plays these guys get to go out there and play, and then everything is falling down because we throw 6 passes. Then I mean, he's Johnny Unitas when we throw 4 passes. So it bothers me, and I laugh at it quite a bit. But the thing is, I understand it because that's the noise that happens on the outside. That's our guys can't really listen to.
All right, so Aaron Glenn is laughing at the small sample size that we're all trying to extrapolate a lot of information from with the New York Jets and their offense and passing offense. I don't know. What do you make from what you've seen and what you know?
Right.
I mean, it makes a whole lot of sense not to read too much into every single pass, but we don't have a whole lot to go on, so we do that.
No, of course we do, and people are at training camp now. There's video evidence.
Yeah.
So just to say like we're just going by a sample size in a preseason game is just like no, that's out the window.
They're throwing a couple hundred passes
every day.
Yeah.
Fans are there. The media is there to watch every freaking play. Yeah. Other people around the NFL who are in media and whatever else are there to watch for days at a time at times to get a feel for what's going on, right? Aaron Glenn's been amazing. Right, he really has. They've been under the radar, the Jets. It's been less drama and bullshit than ever before. I love that. I know their defense is going to be good. He's not going to make it all about the quarterback like we talked about. Just like the Lions didn't make it all about Jared Goff when they first got there. We're going to do some other things to help Jared Goff, right? So he's trying to squash this story before it becomes a story. And he's trying to tell his locker room and the fans that, hey, we're fine. And it's not been perfect, but don't worry. And I think that's the way they look at it, and they don't want to start those problems yet. So they're trying to take a little heat off that situation. The problem is that we do have eyes. We have eyes. Last time I checked, humans have eyes, right? I checked the rule book, and we can see, all right? And within that, all right, let's break it down a little bit.
Okay.
Preseason game number 1, the stats look okay. I don't think he threw a ball over 6 yards. He threw the ball over the middle 6 yards twice, and they ran for some yards after, right? No what I would call high-level throws or anything that I go, ooh, that looks different. Ooh, I like the way he looks there, right? The touchdown he ran for in preseason game number 1, it was a 3rd down. The play was for an out route to the left, and he was open, and he didn't throw it, okay? Those are signs I don't like because you're not going to get away with that in the regular season with a real defense. They're going to have a plan for you to not run, and when there's somebody open, you got to hit it. You can't just go, well, I'll make something else happen. That's not conducive to successful quarterback play. All right, so that happened. So we feel kind of good after week 1, even though I would sit here and tell you, it was nothing special. But okay, last week it didn't look good again. 1 for 5. The throws don't look good. They don't come out of his hand clean at all, right? He's got a weird throwing motion, as we know, and if you listen to anybody in training camp, the Giants scrimmages, anything like that, the ball's been everywhere all the time. That is the main concern up here in the New York tri-state area of all Jets fans, is that the passing offense has looked real shaky, right? So Aaron Glenn can say all of that and all he wants, and I respect what he's saying and trying to defend his player and all of that. But if you went to a NFL quarterback, or an NFL team, or an NFL training camp practice with any of the top 20 throwers in the league on the field as far as quarterbacking, it would not look like it's looked with the Jets, all right? That's the thing. When you get to that, and he's one of the lesser throwers of all the starting quarterbacks in football, and it doesn't look like it's gotten any better. Even last year at a certain point, I was like early on, preseason early, I was like, I like some things in how he's throwing it, but then it got worse and worse, and it looks bad right now.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what you hear. People who I trust that are watching practice on other teams that have seen him, they even say, like, damn, in pregame warmups, whatever, the balls, it doesn't look like starting quarterback throwing missiles, right? So that's where there's concern. But they're going to squash that fire. We'll see where that goes. And they're another team that I'd go, their backup quarterback situation's a little dicey. Adrian Martinez, right? They got the rookie from Missouri and Cook, right? These guys are not necessarily proven commodities. Martinez has done a good job this preseason. I certainly want to give him credit there. But for a first-year coach with first-year coordinators and all of that, if Justin Fields gets banged up and we know he can run around and play a little physical that way and do that, do you really want to give the keys to the organization to one of those two guys? I wouldn't feel great about that. So we'll see where this goes. But Justin Fields is clearly the starter now, but they got to get better in the pass game.
And I think the fans, even Jets fans, you give a little leeway. It's like preseason. You chalk that up as maybe, working out the kinks, trying some things. But, so they're ignoring the noise right now, the Jets. But at what point in the season, if the offense looks terrible, do they start making some real loud noise? Knowing the Jets fans, that could be week 1 against Pittsburgh.
Well, they love to crap on their starting quarterback anyways, Jet fans. All right? Their favorite player on the roster is usually always the backup quarterback, no matter what, right?
Until they become the starter.
They saw Zach Wilson for like 3 days, and they were like, we like Mike White better, right?
Yeah.
That just is how they are. It could be.
Yeah. But they haven't gotten a whole lot of good options.
No, they haven't. All jokes aside, I no doubt. They're going to give this a legitimate chance.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron Glenn's the type of guy. He's not a quarterback guru where he's going to hold the quarterback's feet to the fire for every little thing that happens on the offensive side of the ball, right? There's a lot of times defensive coaches, when things don't go right and all that, right, they usually just yell at the offensive coordinator. Then we can't do that play with that guy. Figure it out, blah, 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 right? Where if it's an offensive coach, they just blame the quarterback. They're just like, you messed up. You didn't line them up the right way. Where the defensive coach would be like, no, obviously our guys can't do this, so we got to figure out a new way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And that can be good about defensive coaches sometimes because they don't always do that to the quarterback where they feel like, man, anything that goes wrong, I'm blamed for. What's going on? But they're going to give him his time here. Again, what's the point of going? We're going to go to Adrian Martinez to see if he's the future? I mean, right. So they're going to play defense, ugly football if they have to, run the ball, and they're going to see if they can win the game that way. And that's okay. They're kind of built that way. So let's see what happens.
It has been 14 years where the Jets have missed the playoffs in a row. DraftKings has the odds to make the playoffs for teams with the longest droughts here. So Jets at the top of the list with 14 playoffs missed in a row. Falcons and Panthers behind them with 7. Jets are plus 450. None of these teams are favored to make the playoffs. The closest, though, the Falcons at plus 155. The Bears at plus 160.
The Bears have a team, I think, that could do it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's still a new system, and the biggest thing that holds me back from the Bears is just the division they're in. Just going, they could be better this year and still lose 5 out of the 6 games in the division with those teams there. Because the Vikings are good. We know the Lions are good. The Packers are good. Yeah. But the ones I look at right here that jump out to me, one, you just heard the Colts. I think the Colts are one of those short list teams that, even as I think about who I'm going to pick for the playoffs, they're in the running. I'm not saying I'm going to pick them to win the division or be a high seed, but I am certainly considering putting the Colts in the playoffs, right? Falcons, of course, in that situation, that same situation as well. And you know my thoughts on the Bears. I was blown away with how Caleb Williams looked the other night on Sunday night.
As good as he's looked.
As good as he's looked in that offense, and I don't know how you can't watch Caleb Williams and just go, that arm is as good as anybody we've seen in football history. It's a history. It's he can throw balls like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Dan Marino or John Elway. The ball comes out of his hand in a way where I just go, wow. And then I'm a believer in Ben Johnson. And they're one where I want to pick them to go to the playoffs, right? I really do.
But then it's like, who do you leave off?
I know, right. And then logically, I don't want to let my emotions make that pick, right? As much as I'm rooting for Caleb and Ben Johnson and I like Dennis Allen, the D coordinator and all of that, I just, like I said, their schedule is pretty tough this year, and that's, I think, what holds me back. But, yeah, that Colts, Bears, and Falcons on that list are the ones that jump out to me.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV.
Just download the Sportsbook app and use the promo code Unbuttoned when you sign up.
DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
That's the last time we're doing that together.
We should just do that in the hallway.
We should.
Passing by.
And just I'll look at you and you'll just go, DraftKings Sportsbook.
The crown is yours. And I'll go, how you doing, Chris? Good.
What if we just do that on Saturday football pregame show?
Yeah,
we just do it.
I don't know if BetMGM or whoever we have.
I know. I was just saying, is DraftKings doing that show? I don't know.
We're all part of the family, and so we should all just get along. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, you've done 700 podcasts. I've done a lot of those with you here at NBC. I'm going to tell you some of the top things I've learned from you.
Wow.
Sitting next to you.
Wow.
For many, many hours in a row.
I made you dumber.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. Back here at Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Chris Sims, Ahmed Fareed for the final time.
Can we pull up that start of the show again, the picture of you and me on video? That's what I would really like to see one more time.
Yeah, I think, why do you want to bring that up?
Because I'd like to embarrass both of us, more importantly you.
Yes.
But I didn't really get to quite absorb it. It was the start of the show.
What we looked like.
And all of that. I mean, I don't even care if you want to bring it up there. I mean, oh my gosh. Wow, yeah, you definitely are a little chubby.
I'm a little, but maybe it's the glasses that are slimming to me. But I feel like that's a bad freeze frame for those who are listening and not watching. I feel like that looks as bad as they're all bad actually.
I'm not loving my hair. I was back in my days of the hoodie with the button-up shirt underneath it all the time.
Yeah, your hair's longer there than it usually is.
Yes,
you don't let it get that long anymore. On the sides,
definitely
especially.
Definitely not. This is too long for me where I'm at right now. I'm ready to go I'm going to get a haircut today.
Look I'm winded, even leaning over. Look at that. I'm out of shape.
Well, look at our great decorations we have. We put an Aaron Rodgers book on the table and a football next to me. And we were like, that looks like a football podcast. Let's go.
We found our setup. We will never change it. We will never change it and then change it 10 times.
We were learning.
To now. But, we've come a long way. And I've learned a lot from you sitting next to you for many of the 700 episodes that we have done. And so I was going to go through the three things that I've learned most when I'm sitting next to you. And I think the number one thing,
very interested
and all the homies know this, is that context matters so much.
Yes, sir.
It was just I think there have been times where I've read the stats, and sometimes stats can tell a story, but I think you're best at telling us whether those stats tell the correct story or not. And so what I've learned from you is that you cannot look at a box score. You have to watch the game, because a running back that runs for 100 yards, but one of the plays was just someone missed a tackle and
or somebody
a
tripped
blown
and fell
assignment.
And he ran straight through a hole and did nothing. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Where a guy's grinding with no blocking whatsoever, gets 50 yards, actually had a better. It's the context in football, I think, more than any other sport. I think some other sports you can look at the box score and kind of have an idea of who the better players were and what happened. I think football, you cannot do that.
Definitely. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. It's the ultimate team sport. That's where I get frustrated at times, because we put it on one guy at times and give him all the credit or all the failure. And they go, what? What are we talking about? We just named 5 quarterbacks that everybody thinks are really good right now. When they weren't on good teams, everybody thought they were horrible, right? So, it's the context does matter. Right, and getting into that and where you go. Here's one that popped to me just from this past weekend. Malik Willis, stats weren't all that great against against the Indianapolis Colts. If you go watch the game, you'd go, nobody was open. Damn, he was under pressure every time. He actually did pretty good for what he was given, right? Instead of like some people might look at it and go, oh, man, I mean, Malik Willis is their backup. I don't know. That doesn't look very good, those stats right there. Or like we've talked about with like quarterback rating and stuff like that. Oh, the guy had a great game. I'll never forget, right? It was Mike White against the Bengals. Remember that one? I don't think he threw a ball past 3 yards. Oh my gosh, Mike White's amazing. He's amazing. Or, his quarterback rating was perfect. Well, yeah, the quarterback rating also needs some context and is flawed. You can throw a check down and a check down and a check down and be passing up touchdowns down the middle of the field and still get a positive grade about that, right? So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Context does matter. It's probably one of the T-shirts we should get for our apparel company.
One day, in our dreams, right, when we start making the T-shirts. And I think even some of like the PFF stats that are time to throw, and I remember there was one on Justin Fields, and I think that one of the criticisms is that he did not, work through his progressions, and there was a PFF stat that was just like, well, he held the ball too long, and it was like, actually, he throws to his first or second read more times than not,
right.
But you were like, yeah, but he's not ever getting to the third read, or there's just context around all these, even
Always.
the PFF stats,
yes,
where you just got to like take it in totality and think about what's really happening.
What's really happening? What positions is he in? Does he have a chance to really succeed? Is it really realistic to ask him to succeed with some of the stuff that's going on around him? Right. That was always my argument with Daniel Jones at times. Why isn't he doing better? I don't know. When you get the ball and you have to duck as soon as you get the ball out of the shotgun, it's hard to look downfield to make the right read, and that's what he was like a lot of the time. So, yep.
So I learned
take that
from,
one to your grave. Teach that to your kids. Okay?
All right, I will take that to my grave on my deathbed. I'll be like, any last words? You can watch a football game. Don't look at the
context matters.
Number two, what I learned from you is that there is an audience for going in the weeds, going deep, talking about a team's third-string offensive lineman.
You weren't sure about that early on.
I was not sure. When we first started, I was like, we have been talking about this game for 20 minutes now, and your deep dive into film. Of course, your notebook is full with everything. I honestly was skeptical about that, because it's just like usually in the media, you're like, all right, keep it quick, keep it snappy, move on to the next topic.
Right.
But the homies clearly wanted to hear your deep thoughts on some of these things. And I do think that's what separates you from a lot of other people, is that you can not only do that, and we trust you because you've done the work, but you can do it in a way that's interesting too, and tells a story. And it tells a bigger story too. So like I've learned from you, like there definitely is an audience for going deep, and there's football nerds out there just like you and me and the rest of the people out there.
They love it. Yeah. The knowledge of the football fan has certainly gone up. And then, some are out there, they're thirsty for more. Yeah. Take me to the next level. And I'm going to know more than just the basics, Tampa 2, cover 3, whatever, right? And it's the sport is absolutely crazy thriving right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane how popular football is. But I mean, you had me doubting. I was like, maybe there aren't enough people that are in the weeds. And I think everybody at NBC a little bit was like, I don't know if we need to go that deep into that subject. But there is a wanting for it. And I appreciate the homies, wanting to be a part of that.
Well, because it's a zig and a zag, right? Because a lot of the shows out there are the debate styles. They talk about that with ESPN all the time. And there's definitely an audience for that. And it is interesting at times, for sure. You got this side, you got this take or whatever. We haven't done that much just because I haven't tried to challenge you with my football knowledge, even though it is immense from watching the Lions from when I was a little kid. But I'm proud that we've been able to build kind of like something unique in a different podcast.
And got in the weeds, and then you've learned about weeds, football weeds, and weed itself, right?
And there are some in the weeds where I'm like, well, that is actually too far in the weeds, and I don't care anything.
I'm in your barn, and I am smelling the weeds right now, Chris. Thank you.
Well, I mean, that's why I wanted to do the Big Butt Award, and like learning about the value of that. And Jim Thompson is one of our big fans here in the building. He's like, you got to talk about that as one of the things you learned. And that for sure is that it's some of the guys' names that you don't hear on a daily basis that actually are the keys to some of these games.
Definitely. And you definitely learn that, Chris is onto something. When guys have a legs and a butt, they do seem to be pretty good players.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
All the good ones seem to have that for the most part.
And the last thing that I learned of the many things, but that warrants a mention here, is that I think you do a great job of having strong opinions, but held loosely. And what I mean by that is that you're not afraid to talk about a quarterback or take a different stance, obviously, with Tua and Jalen Hurts, and push back against some of the noise in both directions. If a player's getting too much hate, you're there to defend him as well.
Right.
But I think what you do really well and what I'll try to pass on to any analyst that I work with is that it's okay to have a strong opinion and then change that opinion if there's evidence to the contrary.
Exactly right. You do your best. I know I'm not going to be right about everything, but like you said before, I'm working hard. I'm studying. I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my butt going, I think I'm going to come in and say this today, right? No. I'd like to be right. But there's a lot of moving parts in football. And also, these are humans we're talking about who do get better, work harder, maybe get better situations, get better support around them, right? Whatever it may be there to where nothing's written in stone. Certainly not. I know where I've been wrong and where I've been right, and I think that I try to own up to it when I've been wrong, and I try to self-scout thyself, as we say, to where I was wrong and where I didn't buy into the player or a scheme or whatever else. I certainly don't want to be that guy. It's one of my pet peeves in the sport in general right now, is people just hanging on to things that they said 4 or 5 years ago, right, about a player and they won't get off of it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, that's changed. What are we talking about? This guy is amazing. He's playing great, right? So that's where I don't ever want to be like that. And, football is just not a black and white, always right or wrong type of business.
Yeah.
As I've always told people behind the scenes when I got first in the business, like, if Bill Belichick can get a draft pick wrong, then damn, so can I, talking about it on TV, right? Yeah. If Bill Belichick can pick the wrong team to win in a playoff game, then I can maybe pick the wrong one too, right? Yeah. I mean, damn. So it's just not always going to be perfect. As we know, there's a lot of moving parts in this business to evaluate it the right way.
But it's unique that you can do that but not be wishy-washy too, because I think that's the other side of it, right? There are some people that are so scared of making a stance that people can hate on and look back, you were wrong about this, and so they hedge and go, hey, this could happen or that could happen. So you still put your neck out there.
I try to.
But then you change your mind. So
I do what I believe. I do what I believe.
Those are the things that I have learned from you and will carry on into my career or forget about them in a month from now. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Chris did talk about that.
I'm going to be there on Saturdays to remind you.
To remind me.
These are the keys to life.
Time. All right, so we got this question from Crash Davis 010. To me, it says, Ahmed, what is your favorite clip from Unbuttoned?
Wow.
So I had to go back and think about my favorite or most memorable moments from the time that we have spent together. And so I have a few honorable mentions here from what we have done. There's of course
I have no idea where this is going.
There's the time, and I don't think Pete has brought this here. We don't need to bring this. There's the time that I accidentally swore on the podcast.
All-timer.
What the F happened Wednesday, and I was tired. I don't know what was going on.
And you blurted it out and got the most embarrassed I've ever seen you get embarrassed in your life.
I turned very red.
You turned red for the first time ever in your whole life.
Yes.
I've ever seen you get red.
Yeah.
Like you were literally going to be taken into the principal's office and they were going to suspend you from school.
Well, it was like if I was going to swear, I didn't want it that way. It was just like it came out.
You wanted to come out with some more vigor
I wanted
there.
to mean to do it, and it didn't happen. So that's the honorable mention. Also, I remember when we did the homies snap count. One off season.
Red 4.
Red 4, I did my red 4. But then we had everyone submit theirs. I thought that was cool. Because it was one of the times, and the homies have contributed so many times, but it was one of those times where it was like they would send them in, the audio, they put themselves out there, and Pete says we actually did not air one of them from back in the day, and it's been gnawing on Pete this whole time. He's got a whole folder of these snap counts. So this is from, is this Trevor Newsom? Pete, is this okay? All right, Pete, let's hear it.
Green 420. Green 420 set.
That's a nod to something else I learned from you that I did not mention.
Back to the weeds again. You're in the weeds again.
Back into the weeds, but well done, Trevor. And that was cool.
That was good.
That was cool to hear that.
Green, you got to be more like green 420, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Green 420, man.
I feel like you would get some offsides or some false starts with that. All right, but here's my top 5 most memorable moments. Number 5 for me was your birthday. And Morgan surprised you, this is a couple years ago, with a birthday cake. And I don't know what got into you that day, but you thought we were messing with you in such a way to where you were as freaked out as I have seen you on this pod.
Well, context matters, okay? Yeah. And the week before that, or was I had the day before that show I had what Catherine Tappan, who had tried. It was the year maybe before.
It was a year. Look at this. There you go. Look at. I have never seen you move that spastically. Like, you're a cool operator. Nothing rattles you.
I thought I was being set up. I knew. I just was like, because the year before on my birthday, Catherine Tappan tried to smash a cake into my face.
Right.
So
I remember that.
So I kind of was like, all right, it's my birthday again here. I'm going to keep my head on a swivel. We had gone through like basically the whole show.
Yeah.
And I just caught a peek out of the corner of my eye. And I was like, oh no, it's coming. They're trying to get me. And I used my cat-like reflexes to get out of the way.
And I think I remember saying, Morgan would never do that. Why would you ever think she would do that? She's too sweet. Oh, wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wait, is there...
We
oh
do. We
my
got a cake
gosh,
for you.
There's an actual cake for me being rolled into the studio right now.
Oh, it's a special one.
Oh,
we're sending you out with a bang, literally.
My gosh.
All right.
This
like
is
big bang.
This is a dream come true. Because, I don't like to eat cake because I'm not a sugar guy.
No.
I actually do not like sugar.
Right.
I am more of an artificial sweetener.
Oh, my God.
Like, I am okay with that.
Yeah,
The studies have been inconclusive so far on how the long-term effects. So, Mackenzie, oh, my gosh.
Look
at this.
You're quite
now,
the baker.
that is a 3-layer.
Yeah.
Oh, when we've got the ghost and the C4.
Oh, man.
Mackenzie,
3 layers
thank
of
you.
cancer for you. You're welcome.
Oh, my gosh. Look at that.
You're welcome there, man.
Now, this is not a sponsor of the podcast, but I have supported them throughout the past few years.
Yes,
here.
you have.
And in your honor, I have tried to cut back a little bit. And I've done that throughout the podcast.
Right.
I don't think I'll ever be able to completely give it up.
No,
but,
you're an addict.
We all have to have our vices, so
We
thank
do.
you. Thank you for that.
Wow.
We will cut the cake here at the end of the podcast.
You have to chug 2 of them before the podcast is over.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, you got one there hiding behind your water bottle.
I already
too,
have
just so
one
we know.
right here too. I am a junkie. Number 4 for me is when you had to kiss my feet. That is most memorable with the
I knew
Pittsburgh
that was
Steelers.
coming.
Pittsburgh Steelers. You go. Hey, if they make the playoffs, I will kiss your feet, and you actually had to do that.
I know.
And we did that. We did it.
We did that.
I
don't know who
followed
felt
through.
worse, you or me, actually.
It was uncomfortable.
Yes.
I think for everyone, including the people watching. Number 3 was a recent one when I said we like big gongs on this podcast, which I was
All-timer.
I was referring to like the decagons,
Right.
Whatever septicons
Yeah.
that we see during the scouting combine.
Yeah.
Did not sound
It
like that's
became
what I
a
was
thing, though.
It
Yes.
did become a thing.
Let's see his gong. What's it look like?
Yes,
It was a great running joke throughout the spring.
It was very
that
good.
I did enjoy. That was very good.
Another
man.
running joke that I did not enjoy quite as much
Right.
was number 2, the sweaty pit talk. And this carried us through maybe the first 3 years of the
I'm glad you
podcast.
brought this up. I thought you'd shy away from this, maybe.
This is, it's not my favorite, but this is the most memorable for me, and I will definitely never forget you pointing out every single time I had sweaty pits.
Yeah, I had to pick you because you're perfect. So I had to pick something out. Something had to be there.
Yes.
You're like the most model citizen I've ever seen in my life, right?
Yeah.
And, at that point, you hadn't sworn yet. So
I had
only
not.
thing I could do was get on that a little bit. And maybe, what was the other thing? You're brushing the teeth, right? Then we get
Once
on
a
that
day.
as well.
Yeah, once a day.
Yes,
Yeah,
optional once. You did once a day.
No, it's mandatory,
It's
but once a day. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
once
which
a
is
day.
amazing. And your teeth are really good.
Thank you.
And I'm brushing twice, and mine aren't so good. So I don't know what the
You're
hell
a
the
coffee
problem is.
drinker, though, probably.
I am. I am
so
a
that's
coffee drinker.
That's hard.
But yeah, you fixed your problem though.
It's
I was going
a
to
lot
bring it
better.
up today, whether you got there or not today. Yeah, no sweat. I don't know what you've done.
I don't know what happened there, and I don't know
think-
why it was happening to me because it hadn't previously.
I think we were at it. It was the same with me, and we're similar in age.
Yes.
Right. You're a little older than me.
Like a few months.
Few
I think,
months,
yeah.
right. But I don't know if we were going through something chemically at that time because of our age, because I was having my own sweaty pit problem. That's why I was calling you out on it, right?
Yeah.
I still have those issues, but for whatever reason, like the last year, 7-8 months, I've noticed that I haven't been having to battle that as much. So I don't know if I'm just getting older now.
went through
and
that
my
phase.
chemicals changed or what. I don't know.
From
there.
42 to 45,
Yeah.
you really hit the sweaty pit phase. And then after
Seriously.
that,
Right.
so that's certainly memorable. But number 1, I think for me, most memorable is
Yes.
our Lions NFC Championship game 4th down argument, which really was the only time in this podcast where it got a little bit heated.
Yes.
Because obviously I was super disappointed about my Lions losing. It was a crushing loss. It was the most, it took me a week to recover. Honestly, a grown man, it took me a week to recover from that one. And so I was even more sensitive than normal. And you know me, I've always been a big proponent of going for it, aggressive, just try. I think we've probably been too conservative in the past.
Yeah.
And so that was the only time where mom and dad fought.
It was real. It was the only time ever. I remember the night before a little with the text going, "Oh, Ahmed's going to be coming in hot tomorrow." Like I could tell you were definitely like just motivated to talk me out of my position.
Oh.
And he did all the research.
I did so much research.
He's great from 37 to 39, but he's a little off from 41 to 43.
I looked at the last time Badgley had kicked a field goal outdoors from 45 yards or longer, and it had been like multiple years or something like that.
Yes.
Oh, I was so angry, and that was we were texting the night of the game when the Lions are blowing it. They're 17 points up. I think they're going to the Super Bowl. I had been drinking a little bit too that night, enjoying the game.
So you were feeling yourself.
I was feeling it, but then I was angry, and then I was sad, then I was disappointed, and then I do remember that text chain because I'm going off on that text chain. It's with everyone. And it was like Tony Dungy's on there.
You did. You fought back against Dungy too. You did. You were telling Dungy.
A little out of character for me,
It was.
Those were real emotions.
They were real emotions, and that was the only time ever I remember being on the podcast set with you, looking at you, going, he's visibly shaken right now. He's visibly angry.
Yeah.
And he's mad at me. He's mad they lost. It was as emotional as I've ever seen you get.
Yes.
Gosh, they should have kicked that field goal. What were they thinking?
If they would have kicked it and made it, yes, I would agree with you there. We do have a photo of you kissing my feet back in the day.
So
there
great.
it is. Oh,
Great.
there it is, right before the kiss,
Wow.
or right after.
What's weird is Pete has this on his phone as my picture when I call, right? So he's when I call, he's got to degrade me and put me in like this right here. How dare he?
Yeah,
right
every time you call him, just know he is thinking about that time you kissed a foot. Just every single time.
That was awesome, man.
Those were with it. And any more that you would add in there? No, I think that's,
you hit the pretty good ones. You really did. Your Red 4 was definitely one of my favorites. Raid 4.
Yeah,
where all of a sudden you went to Oklahoma and you guy became an accent. I don't know either. That was a really good one. Yeah. Of all the options, Pete's right. You went with Red 4.
Yeah.
Red 4. I like it.
Made no sense.
Yeah,
all right, we got to take one more break. When we come back, we got some questions from the homies, an AMA that I'll be able to answer. You'll be able to answer about the future of the pod perhaps here. So we'll do that coming up next. Got a tweet from the homies, starting with Lip Smacklin' Good. I said years ago that Ahmed is the next Mike Tirico. That is so nice. No one can replace him, and that he is that good. And just want to wish him the best and hope he's able to pop in. That said, still available to co-host. As a teacher, I can make anyone look smart, even Sims. So
I don't know. It's hard work. We're not sure. Lip Smacklin' Good.
Lip Smacklin' Good.
Yeah,
So
this is long-time listener there. One of our guys, one of our homies.
Like I said at the top of the show here, it is a tough spot because after the podcast with Bleacher Report was so popular, right? And it was really, you burst onto the scene there as an analyst and your rapport with him, and you spend 700 episodes doing it with anyone.
Yeah.
It's just, you learn each other. I know what you're thinking. You kind of know when I'm ready to transition to something else. It's funny. I feel like podcasting, from all the things we do in TV, and you develop relationships, but sitting down with you is just so conversational, so natural, that you really do kind of build that rapport and that chemistry. Right. And it's tough to just snap your fingers and create it with someone else right after.
I mean, listen, that's what I'm worried about, right? I mean, as I told you in the last commercial break, I was like, damn, the one thing I realized is how comfortable I am with you, for sure. We built a rapport there to, like you said, where this is where, like, doing a podcast is different than when we're on TV and doing Football Night in America or the pregame show. It's a little more, relaxed.
Yeah.
It's not as rehearsed as far as, like, hey, we got to hit this in this time frame because we got to go to the commercial break right here. We can kind of just go, and therefore we just become kind of two guys talking ball, having fun, having a few chuckles here and there, and that's hard to replace.
Yeah.
It really is, and I got some shit to go. Now I got to figure things out. What the hell I'm going to do here? I don't know. I'm all by myself.
Well, you're also good, and it's like listening with Stu Gatz brings out a different side of your personality, and when you're with Devin, it brings out another side of your personality, and so I do think there's a lot of opportunities. Like, you're the main constant. Obviously, your name's on the podcast, but you do such a good job of bringing everyone in, is that they all feel like part of the family.
Thanks,
after no time. So, okay, we turned it over to the homies. I don't want to make this too self-indulgent, but there are questions they want to have answered, and so we have to answer. This is Ask Ahmed Anything, so an AAA for the first and only time in the Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast history. So Bull Bittler says, what advice does he have for the next host? Sorry, Sims, you seem like a lot to co-podcast with.
How dare you, Bull?
So that is true, Bull. I think the number one thing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is to let you cook. I think that's what I've learned too. It's like you have a lot that you've got, like, let you cook, let you get it out, but at the same time try to press you in different situations where you actually have to stop and think. You're like, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Let me think about that.
Yeah.
Because seeing you think and like come up with the stuff on, like, I enjoyed that because I'm now, all right, this is cool. Like, you haven't thought about this before, but this is kind of an interesting road to go down. Like, that would be my advice.
I love when you do that. You know, there's times where I feel like that happened on a few pods where it actually made me learn a little bit of like, hey, I don't need to go, like, it's actually cool to think about it on the fly and let the listeners hear what I'm kind of tossing around in my brain as I'm doing it that way, right? It doesn't always have to be so rehearsed or researched or whatever else all the time. And then, I mean, I also had a lot of times where I was like, damn, I've been talking for a long time, rattling off all this information. I feel really bad because I could tell you're like, wait, we got to go to the next subject. We got to do something, but I just keep going. And I think that's what you mean by let me cook. Let me cook at times.
That's where the sweaty pits came from. I was like, I know we got like 7 more things to get to, and we've already been going for an hour and 45. This one comes from Thomas Allison 5. Ahmed, they say people that work in mental health have a shelf life before they have to move on to protect their sanity. Does the same apply to working with Chris Sims?
I'm getting roasted here. I love it.
You looked at Florio, seen the future, and decided enough is enough. Mike never was like he is now. It was just a matter of a few years working with you. No, it's just like you do like. There are times where it's just like the way I think about football now. I've stolen it from you. I've said that before. It's just like I see things now, and I'm like, they're like, Ahmed, that was pretty smart. I was like, actually, that's Chris Sims that said that. Now I've just parroted that, which I'm sure you have seen throughout the media landscape too, because you do all the work. You put in the work for it.
I do see it. You know, you're saying that because you know that's one of my pet peeves, and that's one of the bad things I think sometimes about being on the air at 7 a.m. in the morning. Is I feel like because we're one of the first things on the morning in pro football talk, it's kind of like, hey, let's hear what they got to say a little bit here. And then I feel like I start to hear things that I said sometimes like to an exact quote where I'm like, well, damn, they watched me and Florio that morning and kind of took it to their show and said it like it was their own type of thing there, right? That goes on in the business. I know that's the way it is. But yeah, I hope I didn't drive you too insane.
You did not. Not too insane, just a little bit insane. Not Bucky Cox says the first Sims co-host is now doing Inside the NBA, and now Ahmed is too big for Unbuttoned.
He's going to the NBA.
Is it that Chris develops great hosts, or the execs see something making it work with Sims and think, wow, he must be good if that can work with that guy.
It might be both.
Might
You're
be
right.
A little bit of that. But these, it's funny because, NBC is so big and we got our hands in a lot of things. We do TV, and it's like also podcasting is a thing. It's just like TNT and Bleacher Report. It's the same thing. And I talked to a lot of people coming up in the business, and they go, what would be your piece of advice? I was like, do everything and don't pigeonhole yourself into one. And so but that is the danger, right? Is that we just keep adding things, and you keep adding things onto your schedule all the time. And so it just becomes difficult to manage, and some things don't get as much attention. I know for me, there are times where I'm sitting next to you wishing that I knew a little bit more or had looked at this a little bit more, but sometimes you just don't have enough time in the day.
You get spread thin. There's only so much you can do, right? I mean, I used to feel bad when you would travel all day and then come come and have to do a Sunday night podcast and do the games,
Yeah.
and I go, damn, I know he couldn't have seen too much, right? Not every airline has all games on the TV and then to watch it. So, yeah, you were in some tough spots, but we made it work. And you were always great, even though if you didn't see a game or whatever else, of just setting me up with a main theme to then kick it off to me to where I can just go and, like you said, do my thing where I can just rattle off a whole bunch of shit.
Let Chris cook.
Right.
We got one from Senemal. Senemal. Sad to see you leave, Ahmed. Your classy presence was a great counter to Sim's puppy dog enthusiasm. That's a good way to put it. My question is, what would be your win place show of Chris's made-up songs, quarterback-based or otherwise? Thanks and good luck.
I know. I've gotten away from my songs.
You really have.
I have.
That
You're
was
right.
a staple
I've lost
early
that.
on. Well, I think Aaron Rodgers is...
Aaron Rodgers, you're the greatest quarterback I've ever seen.
That's like, I feel like the most iconic.
Forever.
Was that your first one?
Yes, it was.
And
That
then
was.
my homies.
My homie, my homie.
Yeah.
Whenever he's on, I watch my
that's
homie,
in there.
my homie.
That's probably number one.
That's pretty
because it's a
good.
throwback.
That's
to-
pretty good. I did have Big Ben, Big Ben,
That's a
Big
good
Ben,
one.
Big Ben.
Yes.
So I had that.
Josh Allen, though, right?
Yeah, giddy up, Josh Allen.
That's probably number 3 for me.
Giddy up, that's my boy Blue. Right?
Maybe you resurrect that.
Maybe
you
I
bring
got
more-
to
you
start bringing them
making
out.
some more-
I got yelled at by one of the big bosses once for saying it on the air, right? And he's like, no singing on this show. And I was like, I think that scared me forever.
Yeah.
Right? I even, I had Lamar Jackson. I have la 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 Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Do. He'll scoot right on by you.
Yeah, see, maybe the first part of that. I mean, you got in trouble with the second part
Yeah,
of
I
that.
didn't hit the note quite right
I
there.
think I do know the boss who probably said that
I
to you
did.
about
I brought
it.
out the giddy up Josh Allen one time on Football Night in America last year.
Yeah.
And it was a play that he was giddy up, and like nobody said anything.
Able
so
to
maybe
slip it
I
in
could
there?
sneak it in
That's
there.
good. I like that.
All right.
Butterbean Bill says, bummer to see Ahmed go. My question would be, where should I take my girlfriend to see the Lions? I've successfully turned her into a Lions fan after years of me watching the NFL. Was thinking Chicago, since we could see the city and both never been, but perhaps go see the Wolverines and Ford Field. Oh, those are both
Good options, yeah.
I've never been to Soldier Field. I haven't actually seen the Lions in person that many times in my life. I don't know.
It's a cool stadium. I like the Lions Ford Field. I do.
I do, yeah.
Great atmosphere. The fans are crazy there now. As crazy as
So
I've
loud,
ever seen.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. As passionate as it gets, and yeah, go to the big house to see the Wolverines. That could be a hell of a weekend. I will say, I think going to Chicago is a very cool experience on a weekend. You can feel the energy in that city because the stadium's in the city like that. It's just a great atmosphere at the field. There's the old structure of the old Soldier Field on the outside with the inside being new and redone. To me, it's one of my favorites. That would be one I would definitely say, hey, get there and get to Chicago and check that out, especially before they build their new dome stadium and the NFC North. Everybody's going to be playing indoors. And the frozen tundra, except for maybe Green Bay. They're not going to give that out.
Which would be another one, Green Bay.
Yeah.
You said that's week
You're right.
18 at Green Bay.
Chicago's
Week 1, Green Bay. That's right. Week 18 at
But Lambeau
Chicago.
would be another one too. You're right.
Yeah, that would be. There's a Lions schedule, so I would say hit as many as you can. You do have to get to Ford Field at least one time to see that home environment, but there is nothing like going to an away stadium and walking out victorious. I mean, that
is a
feels
great
pretty
feeling.
good, and you have as good a chance now as a Lions fan as we have ever had.
Yeah, get it in now. Rub it in now.
Of being a Lions fan. This is from Real Leasing Dust. Will you get a tattoo if the Lions ever win the Super Bowl? I will probably not do that. I will not do that.
That's a big ask.
That's a big ask.
How about we just start with will you throw multiple swears out in a sentence if they win the Super Bowl?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I will
okay.
absolutely.
I like
do
that. Right.
Yes, I would do that. No tattoo.
No.
I think my tattoo days are. I never had one, and I probably, unless
You're
my
past
kids
that?
want to do something,
Yeah.
I probably won't.
Yeah.
At this point.
My son the other day was like, "Hey, Dad, when I turn 16, can I get a tattoo?" And I looked at him and I was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, why not?" And I was like, "Because you're 16 and you're not allowed to." I was like, "If you want to get a tattoo, you better be out of this house. Like you're not getting a tattoo while you're in this house, okay?"
Yes.
And he's like, "Well, what about when I'm 18?" I was like, "Well, if you're here in the house, no. But if you go out and on your own and whatever, sure, I can't stop you. but you're not getting one right now. That's for sure.
Did you know what kind he wanted?
I have no idea.
Small? You
but
didn't want to even.
I'm a little disappointed that ever came out of his brain. And see, these are the things where I got to tell my kids, like, look at me. Dad's an idiot. Don't be like me in all ways, right? You got to explain that to him. Yeah, you're not a tattoo guy.
I know.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
I've thought about it.
Swearing.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get you to do that. I mean, would you?
Yeah.
Maybe I could get you to take a puff of the green stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do that. I don't know if I could do that either.
I've actually never done that.
Damn.
Either.
Oh, damn. That would be amazing.
There were some situations. Yeah, maybe we'd have to have one more
podcast.
pod. Back in the barn.
Ahmed in the barn.
This one comes from Sauce Saini. He says, "We will miss you, Ahmed. Best of luck in the future. Do you believe Goff will lead the Lions to a Super Bowl before he retires? And does Goff retire a Lion?" That's a good question.
Yeah.
I do think he wins a Super Bowl because I'm a fan now, and I can be
Right.
a total homer.
You might as well say it.
No, I don't think he retires a Lion, though. I don't know. It just seems like all these Joe Montana didn't retire a 49er, so all-time greats.
I know.
don't
He's
know.
going to be there for the foreseeable future.
I do think so.
That's for sure. But yeah, does it get to the point of like end of his career? They want to move on. Some other team needs a quarterback. He wants to play 1 or 2 more years. Does something like that happen? I think that's where it's hard to say. But he's certainly a fabric of what they are right now. I mean, and the city loves him. Everything there. It's a big year for him and them. It really is.
Yeah.
Just with the coordinator changes and all that. I've kind of even like been, a little hard. On the last podcast, I brought it up, and it wasn't necessarily just about him. It's about it in general a little bit, just as how some quarterbacks get a free pass or get away with things that others don't at times and all of that. And I kind of just was within that framework going, yeah, it's a big year for Jared Goff. As awesome as it's been, right? I made the point of he did blow a 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game, right? He did have a bad game in the divisional loss last year too. And my point was just that if Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or people like that did those type of things, people would lose their shit, right? And I think the honeymoon's over is all I'm trying to say, right? He's going to be held, I think, to a standard almost like that now, and he should be, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and more than that, they need him. They need him to step up and be, and he's been very good, but they need him to be probably as good as he has been for them to do what they want to do. This one comes from Coach Amarim. Says, if a genie gave you 3 wishes, you would use one of them just for the Lions to win the Super Bowl, and what about the other 2? Only NFL-related stuff allowed. All right, I'll give you one of my wishes. The other wish would be Lions Super Bowl, and then number 2 would be, I would say, you know what I would say for this year?
Yeah.
The health of all my, it's like it's the cliche one. It's like what do you wish? I good health in my life for me and my family. My family includes the Detroit Lions, and so honestly, I just want to see him have a fair shot this year, and just let's see if with our guys healthy. And I know it's almost impossible.
Thing was last year.
That's what hurt about last year
Definitely.
is that I think we had the team and it was just defensively. So good health for my Detroit Lions.
It felt like you were about to be on a collision course with the Philadelphia Eagles in the
absolutely.
NFC Championship game. Then the injuries happened, and we thought, I don't know, but it still kind of felt like, hey, they're still going to find a way to get there, even though they're not at full strength. That didn't happen. I feel like one of your other wishes would just to be like, can the Lions stay this relevant for a long time? Because you were so starved by it forever. I mean, the first year they were good, I'll never forget the joy you had of that year of just being like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
To watch games on a Sunday and feel like, wait, we have a chance or we're definitely going to win or all of that. That was cool to watch you go through that. And I understand the struggles of the Lions fans and what they've had to do.
Pete threw one in here. If you could choose the opponent the Lions would play in this year's Super Bowl and you guaranteed the Lions would win, what team would you pick?
Who would you want to see them beat?
I don't dislike. And all the teams that I dislike are in the NFC. Yeah, right? So it's like if beating the Bears.
Do you think it would do better if they beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Would it count more to you guys that way? Right?
Yeah.
Or the Ravens and you take a Lamar Jackson down?
I think so, yeah. I think, whoever is the dominant team. Yeah, if that's the Bills, if that's the Ravens or the Chiefs, I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah. I don't want it, you're right. I don't want it to be, while Houston might be very good.
Right.
If people are they beat Houston.
Yeah, I hear you.
Super
I hear
Bowl.
you. Right,
That's a good one.
Right.
All right, we got a couple more here from the homies. This one from Melkor23.
I've been thinking about you the whole training camp with this one right here.
Would you would like to hear your thoughts on Isaac Tesla? He is not the project as he was supposed to be, and us actually very well-rounded. He can do anything. What do you see? Thanks, Ahmed. Hope you stop by in the future. I'm pretty bummed about this, to be honest. Was great while it lasted. Well, thanks, Melkor. It was really awesome. Yes, Electron. Electron has arrived in Detroit. Yeah. What do you think?
He has looked good.
Yeah.
He's got to, this is where I have to reevaluate my way with drafting receivers. I'm pretty good at receivers. I think you would attest to that. But there are some guys, and it's these bigger guys that I think I keep kind of missing out on a little bit and maybe not giving them the credit they deserve,
like
right?
Bigger physically guys?
Right? Where it might not be as sexy watching them run in the open field and do all that, but don't forget these type of guys. Hey, he's got good quick feet. He can run routes, and what was one of my things? Size is a skill sometimes, and the ability to have a defender bumping you and pushing you while you're running a route and not being affected by that, to where you can still run the route and then break off of that and get open. Right? That's sometimes some of the things I miss with some of the size guys that I wish I was a little bit better with, right? Their quickness is there to get off the ball, get off jam and all that, but then I watch on film and I go, I like this guy more because he's faster and more explosive, but realizing like, hey, sometimes the game in the NFL there's not going to be that much space, right? And you're going to have to take contact and break a tackle to get some tough yards and do stuff like that, and that is definitely one area that I know I'm going to keep in the forefront of my mind with wide receivers this year for sure.
And he's close now to Tim Patrick. Obviously, Patrick's got more of the experience there, but
Electron.
He is close. Electron physical wise. All right, a couple more here. This is from B28608544478B.
Damn.
What'd you think of that name? We'll just call you B. Ahmed, is there any color pants you wish you wore more often? Also, between Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, and Dan Campbell, who would you believe will be in the best position 5 years from now? I love the red pants because no one really does red pants.
No.
So I do like those. Purple. I think purple would be the other color. I don't know if I could pull off purple, but debatable whether I can pull off red.
Yeah,
so who knows? Maybe I should just go.
Yeah, I think you can pull off the purple. Yeah.
I should just go with it. I am going to say, the Jets is such a tough spot. It's just chewed up and spit out so many coaches.
Right.
I mean, same with Chicago, too. I mean, same with Detroit.
Yeah.
So I would say just the safe answer is Dan Campbell, and also because I kind of hope he is the coach for the entirety of my life for the Detroit Lions, or his career at least.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Campbell, but I'm curious what you would say.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I certainly like Dan Campbell a lot. I mean, it's hard to argue with what he's done and already set there, right? To say like, one of these other guys is a crapshoot to say they'll be there in 5 years. But I love Ben Johnson. I am a huge fan of Ben Johnson. I'd put his offense and what he does there and what I know about him and how he operates behind the scene and all that. I'm just a believer in all things I've heard, witnessed, been told, whatever else. And that's where he's got a chance, right? He's got a chance, in my opinion. And then again, too, like we've said twice already here with Chicago, there's some things in place on their roster that makes you think they can go in a positive direction. I don't know if it happens right away, but I do like the look of things from the outside looking in right now.
Yeah, Ben Johnson kind of has this unique ability to be super likable and connects with his players, but also holds them to a real high standard and can be very tough on them.
Hard on his coaches. Yeah, there's no nonsense. You're not going to get away with some bullshit answer in the meeting room with Ben Johnson. Yeah. It's energy. It's be all over the details, right? That's why there's been so much talk about that Bears team and all that because, hey, they're going through a crash course right now. Right? It's been a little country clubbish there, and now they got a guy that's coming in and is like, country club time is over. It's football. I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to demand more of you every day. If you don't do well, I'm going to yell at you and then yell at your coach even worse because he's got to get on it, right? Yeah. And again, it might not make him the most favorite guy in the building, but again, this ain't band camp. And most times that I've seen teams be really successful and dominant, the head coach is like respected, but people are a little like, they walk on eggshells and they're a little scared and they don't know what he's gonna say or do or how he's gonna react to stuff too. And that's just the way it's got to work in football with the personalities and the people you got to lead on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and he's obviously super smart. And so you look at him, you're just like, you trust him because of all those things you just mentioned. Hernan Favela says, this is not a question, but I wanted to thank Ahmed for all the laughs, good times, and great entertainment. He gave us, the homies, a voice, made us feel like an active part of the show. Good luck on your next steps. We'll miss you. Red pants, clap it up. Hernan, thank you for that. And I do think that is important, and obviously you've done a good job of that. They are a huge part of the show. We don't do the show for anyone but the people who listen.
Right.
And so it feels cool to have a community that you've made of homies.
It definitely is. Sometimes I think we don't lean on them enough. I honestly, right? I'll look at things on Instagram or whatever and go, oh, damn, that was a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good thing that somebody said under there. Or, well, I wish I would have explained that point better on my Instagram video, so this person wasn't asking this right here, right? So the homies are a huge part of what we do. There's no doubt.
So as we wrap it up, we've got to do a Requiem for me at the very end.
Yep.
So we're about to do that. I also wanted to play one final time, Santa Claus or
can't
Andy
wait.
Reid, and so we're
Can't
about to
wait.
do that. But I'll give my predictions heading out the door here
this
because
is awesome.
I've never been right. Never, but maybe this will be the time. And I'll just give you a final four because I can't do all the effort of going through the entire bracket like you do. I'm going AFC. I'm going Bills and Broncos.
Okay.
I'm going Bo Nix.
Okay.
I'm going that defense.
Wow, I like it.
They get all the way there. The Bills do advance to the Super Bowl.
The Bills beat the Broncos.
The Bills beat the Broncos,
Okay.
but it's a great
Certainly
season
not
for,
crazy to think
for
that.
Sean Payton.
Yes.
NFC, we got Eagles, we got Lions. What it should have been this past year.
Right.
And I got to go with my Lions
Of
here.
course you do.
Why would I do anything otherwise? And so we get to the Super Bowl, and it is Lions and Bills on NBC. Great story, too.
Right.
I think it would be a great Super Bowl
It would
for us,
be.
too,
It would
right?
be. Yeah, no doubt about it. That quarterback against that team, for sure.
And then it will be my Detroit Lions.
You'll be there.
Hosting the Lombardi. I will not be there.
You'll be
I don't think.
you
I'll
might be there. You're gonna kick Tarico off the stage and you're like, I want to give you the trophy.
I will. Yes. If it is the Lions there, I will pull my schedule. Although we got a lot going on at that point with I think NBA All-Star and the Olympics.
I'm just glad you made a pick. I'm glad
That's
about
my
that.
pick.
I'm holding everybody to picks this year.
Oh,
okay?
good.
Holding them all. Jason Garrett and Devin McCourty
Yes.
gave me so much crap last year
about
my
Bengals
Packers pick.
But
right?
they made no picks, right?
Well, they made no picks. And I stated to them at the Hall of Fame game last week or 2 weeks ago, I said, you guys better be ready because you're going to pick something before the year starts.
Yeah.
You're going to because you're not going to do that to me, what you did last year. Make fun of me for picking the Bengals. And then on week 15, look at me and go, the Bengals might be the best team in the AFC, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it turned into. And I want to go, oh, yeah, really? We'll see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm putting them to it this year.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
agree. I agree with
Got
that
it.
wholeheartedly.
Got it.
All right, so now it is time to play for one final time until I come back. We play it again. I get bored. Santa Claus or Andy Reid? You've been very good at this game in the past, and normally we play this around Christmas time where it's more appropriate, but we don't have that luxury.
I'm a professional looker of the man's body, all right? I'm a professional that
Yeah.
way. It's a part of evaluating football players is you got to look at the man's body a little bit.
So here we go. We got five pictures here.
All right.
So it'll be a zoomed in picture, and then we'll zoom out to reveal if that is Santa Claus or Andy Reid. And so
Wow.
our first picture here, is this Santa Claus or is this Andy Reid?
Wow, that's a really good
a tough one,
look-alike Andy Reid eye, but I don't think that's really Santa Claus. That's not Andy Reid's eye.
That is, you think it is Santa Claus, and the answer is that is Santa Claus, correct? But he
Yeah.
does have a little
He does
Andy
a little
Reid.
Andy Reid in the eye. I was like, damn, could you have picked a harder Santa Claus there?
Could be
Holy
his
crap.
it's like his cousin or maybe second uncle or something like that. All right, so 1 for 1 so far.
All right.
All right, number 2 here, is this Andy Reid or is this Santa Claus?
Oh, we just
So-
picked his belly. He's just got a belly. Yes. Well, that looks like there's liquid falling down his belly here, like he just had a Gatorade shower.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, unless global warming is happening in
It
the
is
North Pole,
happening,
it
right?
could be
Oh,
ice,
that'd
going to
be
be
too
melting,
bad.
right?
That'd be too
But
bad.
this is Andy Reid.
So you say it's Andy Reid in a Gatorade shower. It is Andy Reid with a Gatorade shower. You are good at this
Yeah,
game.
I
This
know
is
I
amazing.
am. I grew up looking at pictures of my dad going, wait, where is he? What game is this? Who's
Yeah.
he at? Like, and I would be a detective that way. So
Well done.
Oh, thank
All
you.
right.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. All right, number
for
3.
two.
This is it. Could be harder here.
Oh,
Okay.
that's Andy. That's Andy.
Well, hold on. Well, look at that mustache, though. It seems like there's like an icicle or something on that mustache.
I don't know
or-
a Santa Claus that's made icicles out of their mustache yet.
it's cold
I've
up in
only
the
known
North
an Andy
Pole.
Reid do that,
Dang
right?
it.
So I definitely going to go Andy Reid
It
there.
is Andy Reid, and that's our playoff game. That's got to be
That's
our playoff
amazing.
game that we had on Peacock.
Yes, that was the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins
so
24-3 game. Yeah, that's an all-timer right there.
All right, you're amazing at this game. All right, 2 more to go here. I'll see if you can go 5 for 5. The 4th question, here it is. Oh, this is kind of interesting.
Holy
What is-
crap.
what
We
is
pick a
going on
painting here?
What, is it
A painting of a football and a thigh?
Wow, what is going on here?
Well, I'm going to say that's Santa Claus being painted as a football player, because I don't think anybody painted Andy Reid as a football player.
You might not be as good at anything else as you are at Santa Claus or Andy Reid, because you're exactly right. That is a painting. That is ripped, too, Pete says. That is a Santa that has been working out to get on the football field.
He's a running back. He's got to have some legs and ass on him. He knows it. I mean, what's scary? Andy Reid, do I know you better than your wife? That's what I'm starting to wonder here, okay?
All right, the final one to go perfect in the final Santa Claus or Andy Reid.
You guys are going Zapruder film on me here. You're going to like a fuzzy, like not good picture.
Big time zoom in right there.
That's not hold on a second. Now, that's Santa Claus. I'm going to go with Santa Claus. I might be wrong here, but I'm going to go Santa Claus.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Andy Reid dressed as Santa Claus.
I blame the quality of the picture there. How dare you? How dare you?
Oh, we tripped you up with a curveball at the end.
All right.
Yeah, Pete's going to give you a half right on that one. Because, I mean, no matter what you said, that was Santa Claus. And that was Andy Reid.
That's very true.
And so it was a little
I can't
bit
be
of both.
wrong.
You do know Andy Reid.
I do.
It's been a life of just looking at that
I've spent a lot of time with that guy. I know exactly what he looks like from all angles.
All right, so finally, we have to end this podcast, unfortunately, and we will do it by laying me to rest.
Gosh.
We have never
That doesn't seem right.
done this to
Yeah,
a
well, we've
person
never
before.
laid you to rest before because you've never been dead in podcast
I've never
terms.
been died, but I will die now. So here it is, the Requiem for a host. This is what it feels like for these teams, man. If I knew it felt like this, I wouldn't do it anymore. All right. Here lies Chris Sims' Unbuttoned co-host, Ahmed Fareed. Not being with you and the crew is going to suck. Picking a new host, I wish you luck. But if you're ever in trouble and need a host on the double, sorry, I no longer give a There it is.
Wow. That was awesome. And going out with the swear word.
I figured I had to.
Wow,
I
right
figured I
there.
had to.
Please, that's right. I mean, I want to say put that on social media. Let's do that. That is an unbelievable way to go out. Way to go out with a bang.
But just know, I do actually give an F.
I know you do. I know.
I wish you well. It's going to be awesome no matter what happens. But this has been super cool. And like I said, if I wasn't still working with you and Pete and Matt and Kristen and Gabby and Nicole and all the other people that we've worked with in the past, Eddie, Wyatt, Sydney, Kelsey, EJ, I'd be pretty busted up right now, but I will miss doing this show with you and talking NFL a couple days a week with you.
I'm gonna miss it too, Ahmed. You're an awesome person. You're great to work with. You do just let me go and let me be me, and I really appreciate that about you. Ultimate professional, ultimate
Chris.
buddy. Right? We are going to be spending more time
now
than we have before. And if shit doesn't go right here, we might have to rearrange the salary cap and get your ass back in here.
Hey, it's all part of the negotiation, maybe.
We might have to offer you that Jared Goff money.
Yeah, exactly.
And get you in here, all right?
Yeah, there is a price. Yes,
but seriously, no. I mean, best of luck to you and everything you do. And thanks for getting me right on this podcast. That's what I should say more than anything.
Yeah.
And probably holding me in check a little bit too and helping me from myself at times as well.
And now I get to be a homie that tweets in at you and complains or
what an
whatnot.
idiot. The Lions should have gone for it on fourth. What were you thinking?
Give Goff his credit.
Seriously.
Yeah, that'll be me now.
Yeah, you're good. You can be part of the crew there. Ahmed, you the man. Thanks as always.
You too.
All right. You can check me and Ahmed out anytime you see us Big Ten football on NBC.
Yeah.
We'll be live next Friday night, Labor Day weekend, Saturday, and the next day we'll be live again too. So we're not ending our working relationship by any stretch of the imagination. Homies, you know where to find us. We got a big weekend of football here. I still think we're going to have a number of starters play this weekend. And the new theme of the NFL preseason, you know where to find it. Monday, we'll be back at it. Send in questions, subscribe, rate, review. Everybody out there, be good. Enjoy one of the last few weeks of the summer. All right. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Sims Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.